Okay, it's 33 minutes past, so we are going to kick things off and make a start. So welcome and thanks for joining on a cold and windy Thursday evening. So tonight we've got a webinar to give an overview of the UK contingent attending the World Scout Moot next summer in Ireland. This call is for members of UK Scouting and UK Guiding only. So if you have found yourself on this call and you're not a member of UK Scouting or Guiding, then it's possibly not the right call for you. But if you are, then welcome. We are recording the call this evening and we will be uploading it to our website tomorrow. So if you missed something or you want to watch it back, or if any of your friends or colleagues can't join, then they can watch it on our website from tomorrow as well. So we'll kick things off with some introductions. So on the call this evening with us, we've got Ben Hodgkiss, who's our UK contingent leader. Hello, Ben.
Hello, everyone. Nice to have you with us on a, cold and blustery evening where I am.
Excellent. And next up, we've got Beth Fife, who's our Deputy UK Contingent Leader for Contingent Support and Development, calling in from sunny Glasgow. Hi, Beth.
Hello. I get the prize for the longest name, which I'm proud of that, but excited to be here.
Excellent. We've also got Matt Foster, who's on the contingent management team for IST and data management. Hi, Matt.
Good evening. Hi, looking forward to meeting those of you that come as IST.
Excellent. And then you've got myself, Stu, up in Newcastle. I'm on contingent management team for contingent communications. So just to give a bit of an overview of what we'll be covering tonight, we're going to talk about the Moot. So if this is the first time you've ever heard of the word Moot and you're really not sure what it's all about, we're going to tell you how the event works and what it all is. We're going to talk a little bit about the programme, so what will we actually be doing once we get into Ireland next summer, the IST experience, UK contingent support, so that comes in various different ways. Beth's going to run through the support that's available to yourselves as part of the contingent. We're going to talk about fees and payments, which isn't everyone's favourite subject, but we've made some big changes this year in the way that works. We'll run through how that operates as well. Our approach to recruitment, which again is slightly different for this event, so Beth will run us through that and how that's all going to work. Then last but not least, how to apply, and then we're going to do a question and answer session at the very end. You can type your questions in at any time throughout the call, so there should be a little chat box on the right hand side. Feel free to pop any questions you've got in there. We'll save them all up and then we'll answer as many as we can at the end. We have got a hard stop tonight. We've got to stop by 8:25, so we will obviously answer as many questions as we can. Anything that we can't answer, we'll then pop onto our social media and also onto the website as well. So if we don't get around to your question, apologies, but we will answer it. It might just be slightly after the call. So to take things off, I'm going to hand you over to Ben, who's going to give us a bit of an overview about the Moot.
Yes, hello, thank you, Stu. So, yeah, the Moot, World Scout Moot is going to be taking place next summer, summer 2021, and in Ireland. In terms of what a Moot is, so many of you might have been to a Moot before, so apologies for this, but it is the sort of the big international camp organised by sort of World Scouting for 18 to 25-year-olds. So in some parts, it's similar to a World Scout Jamboree in terms of for the 14 to 18-year-olds, in terms of people coming together from around the world, that sort of real mixing pot of, meeting people, from all different cultures. Similarly to a Jamboree, they do take place every 4 years. So the last one in 2017 was over in Iceland. Before that, it was in Canada. And luckily this time we have it almost on our doorstep in Ireland. Unlike a Jamboree, Moots are very much made up of two halves, the trail and the base camp, which I'll go into later. But essentially, the trail is where you would be in a much sort of smaller international group, not all together with everyone on the event, but, somewhere across Ireland, based on your interests. And then the base camp is your more sort of classic, big camp, everyone coming together, sort of Jamboree style event. As I've mentioned, for our participants, they will join international patrols. So you don't you would sign up individually as you don't have to come with people from your county, because you're going to be a bit older this time. You get to sign up just as yourself, and you then are put into these patrols where people from all over the world. So Can we move on, Stu? So as I've mentioned, the next moot will be hosted by Scouting Ireland. So Scouting Ireland is the National Scout Association of the Republic of Ireland, and it also operates in Northern Ireland. So it will be taking place across the whole island of Ireland, which is incredibly difficult to say, but I have to say it all the time. The theme for this moot is Lekela. Now, the way I remember how to say Lekela is it's like the name Michaela, but with an L. And that translates as together. So they're really keen on bringing everyone together, you know, and that really being a key part of the moot experience. In terms of the dates, the moot itself will run from Monday the 19th, the day after my birthday, until Friday the 30th of July. And so that will be from the opening ceremony to the closing ceremony. As you'll see when we come on to it, there are slightly different dates around that for the UK contingent, because our participants will have the option of doing both a pre and a post event, and IST might have to be there a bit earlier and stay a bit later to do that sort of setup. As I mentioned, the trail is going to be all over Ireland, but the base camp is going to be held at Malahide Castle. So Malahide is a nice suburb on the outskirts of Dublin. I went there over the summer, and it's going to be unlike any other sort of big jamboree or event you've been to, in that it's essentially taking place in a public park. So they're going to make parts of that park quite private, you know, for camping areas and stuff, but equally they want the event to be quite public facing, so that local people can find out about what scouting is and sort of understand what international scouting is all about. It's also a great location because from Malahide Castle, it's probably about a 5 to 10 minute walk into the village of Malahide, which has got loads of amenities, and it's also got the sort of the high-speed tram line into Dublin. So some of the programme of base camp will be taking place in the city of Dublin itself, and it's going to be really easy to get there. And for our IST, we've been told there'll be days off in Dublin for you to enjoy. So hopefully it shouldn't be that sort of cabin fever bubble that you can sometimes get on events. So in terms of who can go to the moot, hopefully you all fit into these categories. So participants need to be members of the Scouts, aged between 18 and 25 when the event is on. So that is essentially being born between the 20th of July 1995 to the 19th of July 2003. If you're younger than that, then unfortunately this moot isn't going to be open to you, but the next one, we're already trying to work out who's going to organise that in 2025. If you're a little bit older than that, or a lot older than that, then you can become a member of our international service team, which will be open to both members of the Scouts and members of Girl Guiding UK, and be anyone who is age 26 or over on the day of the opening ceremony, so on or before the 19th of July 1995. And so yeah, that's who we're looking for to come. In terms of our objectives, you know, we're really keen to get the contingent involved in what we hope to do as a UK contingent, not these. So I think, you know, in the past, maybe contingents have been guilty of having objectives which maybe people haven't been fully aware of, and we really want people to embrace it. So we've made some quite hard-hitting objectives about what we want the UK contingent to be. So we want to be the most inclusive UK contingent to go to a world event. We want to, you know, and that's inclusive across a whole range of different spectrums, but we want it to be affordable, we want it to be inclusive, we want it to be representative of UK scouting as a whole. We want our contingent to be engaged in the activities and decisions that we take. We want them to, you know, play a part in helping us reach our objectives, but also developing yourself, developing local scouting in your area. So we're hoping to get some sort of online program resources so you can, you know, deliver that to your beavers or cubs or scouts or whatever it might be. What's next? We're going to look out for each other. So Beth is going to talk about how we support each other, both on the run up to the moot and through the moot itself, because we, you know, we're going to be one big family and we want to all look out for each other, especially if by being the most inclusive contingent ever, we potentially have a lot of people who might not have been to sort of world events before, so it's a whole new world for them, and that'll really help everyone's Moot experience to be different. And last but not least, we want to be sustainable. Because it's only over in Ireland, we have a real chance to do things differently about how we travel there, about what we use, what we wear. So all throughout the process, we're going to be thinking about how we can reduce our carbon footprint, whether that's on our travel, what we do on the pre-event, how we run our briefing, weekends and days in the run-up. We're really conscious that, that we can't ignore what's happening in the rest of the world, and we want to be leading the way in terms of how sustainable we act. So yeah, I'm now going to pass over to Beth, who's going to run through some of what the participants might be getting up to.
Hello, hopefully you can all hear me. I'm Beth, like we said before, and I'm going to talk to you about participant program. So the Moot experience for participants is split into 3 parts. So the first part is the pre-event, then we've got the Moot itself, and then there's a post-event. So Wiley and Nicola, who are 2 of the other CMT members, have been working really, really hard to put this all together. They're working with Travel Places, a company who've done a bunch of other UK scouting events. They just did the World Scout Jamboree, so we are in good hands, and we've got some really excellent ideas, so I'm excited to share them with you. So the first thing to talk about then is the pre-event. So the pre-event is going to be just for the UK contingent, and it's completely optional. We'll talk about fees later, but basically if you want to come on the pre-event, it will be an added cost on top of the base fee, which covers the Moot itself. We'll talk about the fees later, but the pre-event will be from Saturday the 17th of July till Monday the 19th of July, so just a couple of days before the Moot itself. It's going to be 2 nights in the beautiful city of Belfast. We figured that with the main event being so close to Dublin, we should take the chance to see another part of the island of Ireland. And the plan at the moment is to have a few different options of things to do. So various excursions and activities. Can't really reveal too much about it yet. We're still confirming things, working out what to do. Also, it'll depend obviously on how many people want to come. So once we know more about it, you will know more about it, and we'll post that information on the Moot website, on our social media, all that kind of thing. So you'll do a day's worth of activities and excursions, whatever that might be, and then in the evening we'll all come together for a big social event, a celebration of what's going to come. And what is going to come is the Moot itself. So after the pre-event is the main Moot. So the Moot is from the 19th to the 30th of July. As with all international events, all good ones anyway, it'll start with an opening ceremony. The opening ceremony is going to be in central Dublin, and it's at this ceremony that you're going to meet your tribe of 40 people, and which is split into 4 patrols of 10. So a tribe is made up of 4 patrols of 10 people, and you'll spend most of your time on the Moot with your patrol and with your tribe. You'll get to get in contact with each other before you arrive, and sort of share some ideas, get to know each other a little bit, and then you get to meet at the opening ceremony. Then with your tribe, with your patrol, you will head off onto the trails. The trails are going to be 6 days long, and you'll be sent off with your tribe, maybe a few other tribes, to somewhere in the Irish countryside. Basically everybody's heading off in a different direction, so you could end up basically anywhere on the island of Ireland. And during those 6 days you'll do a whole bunch of activities, and they've split those activities into different themes. So the themes are community, culture, adventure and nature. So a whole mix of stuff, and it's set to be very exciting. Then after those 6 days away, everybody heads back to the base camp. Base camp is the bit that's most like other international events. Like Ben said, it's going to be at Malahide Castle, which looks gorgeous. So all 5,000 people, maybe even more than that, will be camping together. So you'll still be camping with your tribe and with your patrol, but you'll get the chance to meet tons more people. There'll be loads more activities, things like global development sessions, international day, all that kind of good jamboree style fun. And then you'll also get a chance to go out for the day and explore the city of Dublin as well. So basically it all sounds like it's going to be good stuff. And then, as if that wasn't enough, there's also the post event. So again, this part is optional, so it's not included in the base fee. If you want to come, you can just sign up to it and pay the additional cost. And at the moment, it's just for the UK contingent, although as there has been done in the past, we are in talks with some of the other contingents to see if anyone would like to join us. We can't reveal any details about that just now, but hopefully we'll get involved with some other contingents too, so it's a big celebration. And the post event is going to be one night in the beautiful city of Dublin. It's going to be a proper celebration of Irish culture. Basically, it's going to be a lovely final farewell to our UK contingent family, because obviously by then we will be a family for sure. So that is the participant programme. So I'll pass you on now to Matt to talk about the IST programme and experience.
Wonderful, thank you, Beth. So the IST experience is split pretty much into two parts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Moot itself and then what we have planned afterwards for you as well. So if we could go on to the next slide. So the World Scout Moot as IST is going to be exactly 2 weeks long for the core experience, which we're really glad we're able to offer to you, because it means that it can be just those 2 weeks off work are required if you want to come along and volunteer as part of the international service team. So you will become a part of a team of about 1,000 Scout volunteers from all around the world who will be working really hard to make the event a success for all of the participants. We expect that it's going to be hard work for those of you that come as IST. With the days that you're working, you could be working up to 8 hours each day. However, it will be a whole lot of fun meeting a lot of new people from all around the world. We can't say at this point exactly what your role would be at the Moot. For those of you that have been to an event as IST before, will be able to appreciate as well. There's a whole load of different roles that you can play in making the event a success for the participants. But think running programs for participants. Maybe you'll be on security teams. Maybe you'll be providing pastoral support. There's all sorts of different ways that you'll be able to get involved as international service team, and you'll be a really, really vital part of making the event an amazing place. The other thing that I can say is that as contingent management team, we are committed to delivering an amazing IST experience for you. We're going to be working really hard in the run-up at the preparation to the event to make sure that you're able to fully capitalize on this experience when you get on the ferry. And this will include some plans to provide a platform to those IST that have been to events before to share their experience with those of you that are new to this kind of volunteering, and thus help you all be really prepared for the event. The other thing to say is that on the event itself, you will have the chance to have a big celebration event for all IST after the participants have gone. So you'll also be working really hard across the event to make it an amazing place. You'll have done the build, you'll have done the delivery, you'll have done the takedown. But then at the end, we will the organisers will be providing a celebration event for you to reflect on your experience and have a really good sort of last evening together before you leave the site. Then the next day, the morning after that celebration, we as a UK contingent will be hosting a farewell brunch for the IST to say thank you for all of the work that you've done in representing the UK contingent, and also a chance for you to reflect on your achievements and your experience that you've had over the last couple of weeks. Once you finish that brunch, you then get to head home, or indeed onwards to whatever it is you choose to do next after the moot. And I think we're next moving up back to Beth.
Yes, hello, Beth again, and now I'm going to talk to you about contingent support. This is my big job. I'm Deputy for Contingent Support and Development, so this is basically my priority. So as you will have heard before, we have 4 objectives, and 2 of them are to be inclusive and supportive. We are really taking it seriously that we want our members to feel safe and comfortable and supported while they're on, this big adventure that is the moot. So there's a whole bunch of ways that we're going to support everyone in the contingent, and there's a few bullet points here on the slides that cover most, if not all of that. There's some information on the Moot website already about all of these things, so I'm not going to run through it in great detail because you can get those details on the website if you want them. But what I want to say is that we've got a big program of support in place, and that covers support in hopefully any area that you might want or need support. So financial support, we're being really open and encouraging with our inclusion fund, which we'll talk about later in the finances and fees bit. But we're also going to have a fundraising guide to help anyone that wants some advice in that department. Practical support too. We are not assuming anything about you as a participant or as an IST member. If you've never put up a tent in your life, do not panic. We will make sure you know how to do it before we get to Ireland. If you've never been to an international event before, again, do not panic because we are setting up a few different ways to help you out. So we're going to have a buddy system, which will be twinning people who have experience of international events with people who maybe have less experience or no experience at all. So at some point in the future, if you are successful in getting a place, we will be asking both very experienced people and not so experienced people to sign up if they want to. And we're also going to have contingent support representatives, CSRs, and their role will be entirely about making people feel like they've got someone to go to for help if they need it. And again, we'll be looking for people who've got some experience of either moots or just international events in general to sign up and be a part of that. And that is also part of our sort of wider goal of hoping that you can use the moot not only to have a really good fun time, but also as a way of developing your own sort of personal skills, adding things to that CV, all that sort of good stuff. Then more seriously, if you have additional support needs, so whether that is a disability or if it's mental health issues, whatever that might be, there will be support available to you. We're going to have individual support plans in place for anybody who wants one, basically, anybody who needs one, and we're going to work with you as the individual to work out the best way that we can support you. And the plan is to get all of those individual action plans in place before we get to Ireland, so that you know and we know what the plan is, what we need to do to help you, what the Ireland planning and organisers need to do to help you as well, so that you have the best time ever, is my goal anyway. And our CMT are doing mental health first aid training, and I've actually met all of the CMT and they are all quite lovely. So I think it's going to be really easy for us, I hope, as a contingent to really come together and create that supportive and encouraging atmosphere that will help everybody feel like they've got places to turn and people to talk to, and that support network that you need when you're on a big event like the Moot. The last thing, I think the only thing I've not mentioned is religious needs. So that includes dietary requirements, prayer spaces, anything like that. So on that note, do not worry. We will arrange and support any religious needs that you have, and the organisers in Ireland are already planning that support as well. So with all of that said, I hope you recognise that we're taking support really seriously, especially being hopefully the most inclusive contingent yet. We want to make sure that everybody who is involved feels able to get involved, you know, to their best of their ability, and we're really excited to help people do that. So I hope you feel that if there's any support that you will need, that you know that you'll be able to get it. If you do have more specific questions, or if there's anything that maybe you don't want to ask on like a public Q&A at the end of the webinar, then please do get in touch. If you email us with questions, I will do my best to answer them. That is me done with support. So I think Stu is here to tell you all about the fees and payments.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Beth. Thanks everyone for your questions. We can see them coming through. Feel free to keep asking. So throughout the webinar, just type your questions in and we will answer them all at the end. But thanks for the ones we've had so far. Some really good ones. Excellent. Yeah, so next I'm going to talk about fees and payments. So we've worked really hard on this behind the scenes, and we're really excited to share the fees for the UK contingent. We've worked as hard as we can to reduce the cost as much as possible, and obviously provide everyone with real value for money. As Beth just mentioned, we're really conscious about making the Moot as open and accessible to as many people as possible, and we really don't want cost to be an impacting factor on that. So the way that we've done it this year is we're going to have a base fee that everybody pays, and that's for the basic Moot, and then there's a range of additional add-ons that you can have as well. So the moment you've all been waiting for, the base fee for participants and IST, we are delighted to say, are both under £1,000. The participant fee, as you can see, there's £995, and then the IST fee £895, and that's the base fee. So as a minimum, that's probably what everyone will need to pay. Obviously, the extra stuff is an additional add-on and isn't necessary. In terms of what the base fee covers, so on the left-hand side there, it covers the Moot event fee. So we pay that straight to Scout and Ireland as part of your event fee to take part in the Moot. It pays for contingent support and development, so calls like this, all the bits and bobs that Beth's just talked through there as well. It covers insurance, which obviously is very important. So it covers your insurance for the whole event, along with contingent briefing events as well. So we'll be having some local events this November, and then also a big weekend where everyone gets together in April. So that covers all of the costs for that. Some admin costs are in there as well, and then also the contingent kit. In terms of kit this year, we've kept it a bit more minimum. So we will be providing everyone with 2 UK contingent neckers, 2 UK contingent badges, and then 1 UK contingent eco t-shirt. That's what will be part of that base fee. There will be additional kit and merchandise that people can buy from Scout Store, but again, that's an additional extra if you wanted to. There's no pressure or anything like that to do that, but as a basic, that's what we're providing everyone. So everyone will have a t-shirt, a necker and a badge, so we will all look the same going to Ireland. In terms of what the base fee doesn't include, so travel costs, as we've mentioned, are not included in that. We do have an additional add-on if you wanted us to organise your travel, or you can organise it yourself, but the base fee doesn't include travel. It does not include the UK contingent pre-events and post-events, which Beth just mentioned there. Any additional kit that you might want to purchase and take with you, you would need to get that yourself, and also personal equipment such as mess tents and hiking equipment. The base fee doesn't include that. In terms of a breakdown of costs, there's 2 graphs on the UK Contingent website, on the Moot website, which shows you the breakdown of both the participant and the IST fee, and it tells you exactly what we're spending the money on as well, so that's really quite useful. The biggest chunk does go directly to the organisers, and we've tried to keep all the rest of it as low as we possibly can, but if anyone's interested, feel free to have a look at that on the website. So that's the base fee that everybody pays, and then we have on these additional add-on packages, which we've just talked through a little bit there. So for travel, if you'd like us to organise your travel for you from a UK contingent perspective, you can add that on as an extra package for £185. Travel will be from regional departure points in the UK, and we'll get you all the way to the Moot experience and back again as part of that fee. Now, obviously, Ben talked through our objectives at the start of the call, and one of those objectives is sustainability. So we are looking to be as sustainable as possible when it comes to travel. At the moment, we're looking to arrange transport by coach and ferry wherever it's possible. We are still working through that with our travel provider, so the exact options aren't secured just yet, but we will be able to offer you an announcement before the deposits are required in September. So you will know sort of which method of transport we would be offering to you before you would need to sign up for that. As mentioned, it's an optional extra, so if you wanted to make your own way to the Moot, book your own travel or do some travelling before and afterwards, that's completely fine. It's an optional extra that you can pick or choose as you wish. We've got the pre-event, which Beth mentioned earlier in the call, so the cost for that would be £215 per person, That includes all your food, accommodation, activities, transport during the pre-event, and then also transport from the pre-event to Belfast for the opening ceremony. That would cover everything for that. Very similar with the Dublin post events, that covers everything we've just mentioned there, all your food, accommodation, activities, and that is £90 per person. In terms of the pre and post event, just a reminder that they are only for participants, unfortunately. With IST, you are required on site earlier and slightly later as well. We've got the IST brunch for you, but that is included in your fee. But the pre and post event we're talking about here are just for participants. And then last but not least, we've got additional tours. So for anyone who went to the Jamboree last year, these were very popular with IST. So Travel Places, who are our travel partner, will be offering some additional tours, 4 different tours that you could add on to the end of your Moot experience. So it will take place after the Moot. These will be 3 nights and 4 days, and they'll follow a popular Irish theme. So it could be sport, music, food, something along those lines, and you'll be able to select which one you would prefer to attend. We are currently working with Travel Places on that, so we haven't got too much detail on it, but we hope to give further information and some prices out in September, just to give you a little bit more information on that. So they're the additional add-on packages that you can add onto your base fee. In terms of the payment structure and how that's going to work, this table sort of details everything down. So the top 2 columns, obviously for participant base fee and IST base fee, these are the only 2 sort of compulsory ones that everyone will need to pay. So we're asking everyone to pay a £400 deposit in June, and that'll secure your place as part of the UK contingent. That's then followed up by another £200 in September to start paying off that overall base fee. And then the last payment will be in February 2021, which will be £395 for participants, and then £100 less, £295 for IST. And that'll be the base fee and how the payments work for that. In terms of the additional add-ons, we'll be looking for deposits for those in September. So that gives you a bit of time to have a look at the add-ons and decide which ones you want to do and which ones maybe you don't want to do. So that'll be deposits paid in September, which is £50 for each one. And then the other payment in November is slightly different depending on what the add-on is. But for travel, that'll be £135, pre-event £175, and then the post-event £40. So hopefully that makes sense. All this information is on the website. It's scouts.org.uk/moot. So you can go through and read a bit more detail about it as well. But that's essentially how we're going to be running the payments. So if you're sitting on the call and thinking, wow, that seems like quite a lot of money, I'm not sure if this is for me or if I can afford it. We are working really hard this year in terms of our inclusion fund for world events. So that's a pot of money we use to offer grants to members of the contingent who may otherwise be unable to attend. We are looking to give out grants of up to 75% of the contingent fee, and we really want to make a difference to whether you can attend them or not, and make sure our contingent is as inclusive and vibrant as possible. So the exact value of that grant will depend on various different factors, but there is a form that we'd ask you to fill in at the same time as your application form. So we'll come through onto the application process in a little bit, but there's 3 steps essentially, and one of those steps is to fill in a separate form for our inclusion fund, and we really would encourage you to fill that in and apply, and we're looking to really help as many people as we can attend what's going to be a fantastic event next summer. Lovely. So next up's our approach to recruitment. So I'm going to hand back across to Beth, I believe, to talk us through this.
Yes, hello, me again. So recruitment, there are some pretty big changes to recruitment compared to past events. So I'm just going to talk you through it. The big thing here is that we've made these changes because we're committed to making this UK contingent the most inclusive contingent yet. So we're hopeful that this new strategy will be successful and hopefully be taken forward to future events. So the strategy really falls into 2 new parts, the ballot and the scouting criteria. So first up is the ballot. This is dead simple. Basically, rather than first come, first served, we're having a ballot. So this means that you can apply at any point up until the deadline, which is the 3rd of May 2020. And as long as your application is in before that deadline, you'll be in the running for a place. And what we're going to do once we've got all the applications in is we're going to pick names out of a metaphorical hat, if you like. So basically they'll be randomly allocated once the deadline has passed. And the idea behind this is we think it's just a bit more fair. You know, you're not relying on having the fastest Wi-Fi or you're not missing out because you're stuck at work or at school. or whatever. Basically, it just means you've got a bit of time to think it through, have a look at the costs, have a look at, you know, the timescales, getting time off work, whatever it might be. You've got a bit of time to mull it over, and as long as you get your application in before the deadline, you are basically good to go. The next part of our new system is the scouting criteria. So we've created these as a way of supporting those scouts who will benefit the most from the chance to come to a moot, and who might have in the past not felt able to apply. So it's based around our inclusivity research, which was a few different things. The first thing was our online survey of you lot. We asked a bunch of questions about what we could do to make international scouting more inclusive. And on top of that, we've done a lot of other research, looking at past event data, and also talking with inclusivity experts within scouting as well. Basically, we ran our ideas past the experts. They gave us some really good advice about the best way to put that forward. So, scouting criteria. There are a list of criteria based on that research, and if you meet any of those criteria, you get an extra place in the ballot. So you get one extra place for every criteria that you meet. So we're not guaranteeing places for anybody, but what it does mean is that those scouts who will get the most out of coming to the event will have like slightly better odds of getting a place. So just to preempt the question slightly, we're not shouting out about what exactly the criteria are or what the right, in inverted commas, answers are, because, well, we want people to answer honestly. And I'm sure that this wouldn't happen in scouting because scouts are honest, but it's also so that nobody feels like they can cheat the system. It's just a way of us helping to encourage people to apply and supporting those people that will get the most out of a moot. So that is the scouting criteria. And with all of that in mind, we can move on to the next section, which is how to apply. Very exciting. So there are 3 simple steps to applying. Number 1, complete the contingent application form. Pretty much as simple as it sounds. You'll need your name, your scouting membership number, all the usual sort of stuff, nothing too exciting about that. Then number 2, please could you complete the anonymous equal opportunities monitoring form. So this isn't tied at all to your application. There's no link between your application and your equal opportunities monitoring. But what we're doing it for is so that we've got some more data about how we're doing in terms of inclusivity, so we can look at data, compare it to previous data, so that looking forward, we can see the ways that we can improve. So it would be great if you could fill that out. And then the last step, number 3, is the grants page and the inclusion fund. So we've mentioned that already, the inclusion fund. But basically, if you are thinking that you would love to come to the moot, but you maybe need some help on the financial side of things, stick your name in the hat for the inclusion fund, and we'll let you know before you have to pay anything, the financial support that we can give you. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you do that, because why not? And I'm very excited to announce that as of the end of this webinar, as of now pretty much, applications are open. So you can find the application form on the Moot website, which is scouts.org.uk/moot. And if we click through to the next slide, you'll see just the top tips you need to know about it. So applications are open. Remember, it is not first come, first served. So there's no rush at all. As long as you've got your application in by Sunday, the 3rd of May, 2020, you will be in the running for a place. We reckon the application form will take about 10 minutes. If you're doing the inclusion fund as well, maybe a few extra minutes for that, but not long at all. All you need is, your name, address, all that business, your scouting membership number. If you're under 18 at the moment, but you'll be 18 in time for the moot, we'll need your parent or carer's permission. And just as an additional thing, if you are IST, you'll also need to provide us with the contact details of a scouting line manager and obviously permission from them to share their details with us. What we're using that for is kind of like a reference. We just need someone in scouting who knows you so that we can get an endorsement from them, which basically we'll email them and say, Drew Blogs wants to come as IST to the Moot. Do you think that's a good idea? And I'm sure, of course, that they will say yes, because I'm sure that you're very lovely. So we just need that from you. If you're IST, if you're a participant, don't worry about it. And that can be your group scout leader, your county commissioner, basically anybody who knows you, who has a role above you in scouting is fine. And that's basically it. It's as simple as that. So I will pass you back to Stu.
Lovely, thanks Beth. Very exciting that applications are open. That's awesome. Great, so one last piece before we move on to question and answer. We just wanted to share our contingent timeline. Again, this is on the website, so feel free to have a look afterwards, and it breaks everything down. But as Beth mentioned, it's March 2020 and applications are now open. On the 3rd of May, applications will close. We'll then go through the process of the scouting criteria and the ballot, as Beth just talked through there. And then at the start of June, we'll be looking to give you the outcome of the ballot and be able to let people know who's attending the Moot next year. Next step after that is the briefing days in November. So we're looking to have multiple briefing days across the UK. We want to make sure that people can attend and travel as easily as possible. And there'll be a one-day session just to give you some information. We'll do some training, some team building, all those sorts of things to get you prepared for the Moot. In January, over winter, we'll be looking for regional meetups. So we'll be looking to set up regional sessions and events so you can get to know people who are going to the Moot from near where you are, share ideas, share kit, all those sorts of good things over the winter months. And then in April 2021, we'll be having a briefing weekend where all the participants in IST will come together for a full weekend to camp. And again, we'll be giving you all the latest information, news, and also your kit as well before we head off to Ireland. In June 2021, we are hoping to be able to let you know your patrols and then online, get to know the different people that you'll be spending a few weeks with in Ireland from around the world. We are still waiting confirmation of that from the organisers, but obviously we'd love to be able to put you in touch with the people who'll be in your tribes and patrols. And then July 2021, we will be in Ireland for the Moot. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour really of what will be happening over the next few months, taking us up to the Moot. Again, there's a lot more detail on the website if you wanted to find out a little bit more on that. Excellent. So we are onto the question and answer session. We've got about 10 minutes or so we will try and get through as many as we can. As mentioned, any that we can't get through, we will put together on a document and upload to the website, and we'll also put them on social media on our Facebook and Twitter as well at UK Contingent. So I'm going to read the questions out and then pass them on to different members of the CMT. Let's try and get through as many as we can. So the first one's from Shia. It says, I'm a scout currently, but intend to go to university next year. Will I still be counted as a scout, even if I won't have a specific unit at the time? I'm going to pass that one to you, Ben, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so obviously, being 18 to 25, we know that a lot of our members, are at uni or college and, living across various places. So you won't need to have a unit. I would recommend, making sure you signed up with a local scout network or with a local sort of scout active support, even if you're not doing a sort of leadership role, just so you've got a scout membership number, and then it'll be absolutely fine.
Excellent, thanks Ben. Lovely. Next question is from Anya, asking if we're trying to be the most inclusive contingent, why are guides being excluded from being selected as participants? Let's have a look. I'll pass that one to Beth if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a very simple answer actually. The predicted hopeful outcome of our application strategy is that we will fill our places just with scouts. So the way that big internationals work is that the organisers ask us how many places we think we're going to get, but there's a limit to how many we can have, and we can only have up to, I think it's 10% of the total number of people that are going to be there. So for this Moot, that means I think if there's 5,000 people, we can only take up to 500 people with us from the UK. And based on previous events, we think we're going to hit that 500 number with scouts. So because it is organised by the Scout Association and because it's the Scout Moot, our priority has to be our members before we can open it up to other organisations. And that's also why IST is Scouts and Guides, because Typically, we don't imagine that we'll fill the IST places just with scouts, so that means that we can open that side of things up to girl guiding, because we know that they'll be really excellent members of our IST. I hope that answers your question sufficiently, and I'm very sorry if you are a guide that you can't come. I was a guide too, so I feel your pain.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Beth. Next question, I think I'm just going to summarise a little bit, but it's from Oliver, just around IST and whether IST are able to pick their roles from a potential list, or if it'll be a case that they'll just be assigned a role. I'm going to ask Matt to answer that one, if that's all right.
Yeah, I can share with you as much as we know so far. What we know so far is that there will be an element of choice to the roles that IST get to take on. So you will have the option to influence the particular role that you're going to have on site. At this point, how exactly the organisers are going to do that, we don't know. So all we can share with you is that you will have some element of choice.
Excellent, that's great, thanks Matt. We have got a few questions through about contingent kit. So as we talked around before, it is part of your base fee. Everyone will receive 2 UK Contingent neckers, or scarves if you want to call them that, 2 UK Contingent badges, and then also an eco t-shirt as well. So that's all of the kit. We're not necessarily doing bags or anything additional. There will be additional kit from scout shops that people can buy online themselves if they want to, but again, to keep the cost down as much as we can, we've limited it to those 3 items, and you'll get those at the April get together weekend essentially. So I think that answers a few of those questions. There's a question here about the ballot, and is the ballot for IST2? Matt or Beth, if you want to grab that one.
Yep, I can do that one. Simply put, is that the IST, we also won't confirm your place until after the application window has closed. But as Beth just said, we're not expecting to fill our allocation for IST. So there's a little less pressure on that role.
Brilliant, thanks Matt. There's another one here asking about the ballot system. Will there be no selection weekends at all? So no, we won't be having any selection weekends, again to save on cost, and also people travelling around the country as well. So there'll be no physical selection weekends or anything like that. It's all going to be based on the ballot and the scouting criteria for this event. Let's have a look, just looking for the next one. What happens if we will be unable to attend any of the regional meetups or the briefing weekend? So ideally, we would like obviously everyone to make an effort to try and attend those. If for whatever reason you can't, we will make sure that all of the content, all of the presentations and everything like that will be available on the website as well. A big part of those weekends is getting to meet people as well. So getting to know who else is going on the contingent, somebody you might be in a unit or a tribe with. So we would encourage everyone to attend those as much as possible, but we realise exams and jobs and all those sorts of things do get in the way. So if you can't, that's fine. We'll upload as much of the content as we can onto the website. Let's have a look. There's one here from William to say that he's done his application already, which is fantastic. Excellent stuff. It says at the end there's 2 more steps to complete your application. Do you have to fill out the grant section? You don't have to, but if you feel like you would benefit from a grant, obviously we would encourage you to fill that out. But the grant section isn't compulsory. I think the only 2 are really the main application form and then also the equal opportunities form as well. We would really appreciate it if you could fill that one out as well. Question from Lewis asking where you can find your Scout membership number. So you should be able to find that on Compass if you've got a login to get onto Compass, possibly also in your Scouting magazine as well. If not, I'd probably suggest speaking to your sort of Scouting line manager or somebody with the group you volunteer with. They should be able to let you know what your Scouting membership number is, but you will need that to apply. Question from Georgia, will there be any extra places after the ballot? I'll pass that one over to Beth to answer.
Yeah, so with the ballot, basically that depends on how many applications we get. So after the deadline has passed, we're going to draw out all the names, and if there's enough people with their names in the ballot to fill those places, then we wouldn't be able to offer any places after that. If for some reason there aren't enough people that have applied, then we would reopen the ballot to fill those places. But fingers crossed we won't need to reopen, because the moot sounds so amazing that people will just be, desperate to sign up.
Beth, just on that point, we will be sort of maintaining a a waiting list, and we'll be letting people know, within a sort of set criteria, that if they're on that waiting list, we do have this hard cap for participants in how many we can offer a place to. But we do want to take a maximum number of people that we can. We want as many people to experience the Moot as possible. So yeah, we'll be in touch with people if that applies to them, and sort of talking them through it as and when that occurs.
Brilliant, thanks Ben. I'm going to try and squeeze 2 more in, and then I think we are going to have to stop for the night. Next one is the idea that all of the UK patrols are made of a random selection of people, or will there be any way of knowing people in the patrols? I'll pass that one to Ben if that's all right.
Yeah, so as I mentioned at the start, you sign up as an individual. So you might be the only Brit in your patrol. You might be the only one whose first language is English. You might be the only one who knows how good a cup of tea is in the morning. The thing about a Moot is that you're going to be learning all about the different cultures of people in your patrol. So you don't need to sign up with your mates. You don't need to sign up with people from your county. You can just sign up just as you, and then let us take it from there.
Excellent, that's great. Thanks, Ben. Last question is around, if you don't anticipate IST places being filled, can unsuccessful participants join as IST? I don't believe they could, purely for the age ranges, but I'll check that with Beth. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think all IST need to be over 25, just so that there's a difference in groups of people, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think the age ranges wouldn't work out. So yeah, if you're in the age range for a participant, you would need to attend as a participant, and vice versa for IST as well. Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone for your questions. Some really good ones there. Apologies we haven't got through them all, but as mentioned, we're going to write them all down, and we'll get those on the Facebook page and also on our website as well. So if we haven't answered your question, just keep an eye out for it in the next few days, and we'll add those on. As mentioned, there's loads of stuff on the website, so please do have a look, and that might answer a lot of your questions. But finally, I'm going to hand over to Ben just to sum everything up and give everyone some calls to action as well. So over to you, Ben.
Cheers, Stu. So yeah, going to be really quick, guys, because I know that we have to go because there's another scouting webinar wants to hop on after this. But yeah, as Stu said, the new website, it looks fantastic. It's a fantastic resource, so do check it out. There's loads of information there. You've got loads of time to apply right up until Sunday, the 3rd of May. So, take your time if you want to chat it through with friends, family, but do please make sure you apply by that point. Like us on social media, because we're constantly telling you things about the Moot as we learn new things, as the organisers tell us. We'll try and share that with you as soon as we can. And finally, if you've got friends that you volunteer with, that you go to a network with that aren't here today, let them know about it. As we said, we want new people who might not have been to events, as well as those people who've been to lots of events who are, a really good basis to help support those new people. So anyone who's out there who's interested or eligible to go, let them know, direct them to the website, and hopefully we'll see them apply.
Excellent, brilliant. Thanks very much, Ben. So that's everything for tonight. Thanks very much for dialing in, and we hope you found it really useful. As mentioned, there will be a recording on the website, hopefully from tomorrow morning. So if you want to watch it back or share it with anybody else, feel free to. But otherwise, thanks for joining, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday night.